All right. Good morning. Today is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Selectmen. It is Tuesday, May 6th, and it is 8:30 a.m. In front of you, you have the agenda for today's meeting. I have a couple additions and edits to the agenda. If I could add a new item for a request for travel from the police department, we'll do that right after item 4. Also add a item number 22, 2025 paving addition for Cape Sealing local roads. And then, just write that down. And then if we could delete item 23, Friends of Waveney Playground, they're not quite ready to come. And then if we could edit item 6, section A, to include in the description the language after community development and just say, and New Canaan Society for the Arts, Inc. and the town of. There was a few things. If I could get a motion to approve those additions and corrections.
Someone.
And if I, that's a second for me. And then if we're all in favor. And then if I could get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Someone.
Second, and it's unanimous. Okay. Minutes. We have minutes from our regularly scheduled meeting on April 15th. Are there any additions or corrections?
None.
So if I could get a motion to approve those minutes.
Someone.
That's seconded. Thank you. Public comments. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments to the Board of Selectmen on agenda topics scheduled for review and or vote. Comments submitted electronically should be sent to the following email address: bosdistribution@newcanaanct.gov. Are there any? Is anyone? Nope. Nope. Okay. So moving on. New Canaan PD weapons purchase. John.
Good morning. This is a request to enter into a contract with Jurek Brothers to purchase our new duty weapons for next year. 45 new duty weapons that were approved in our budget process this year. This is to enter into contract with them because there's a little bit of a lead time to get them, and we want to get them before the end of summer and too late into the fall so we can do the training. It's going to be some considerable training required for these. So it's about a 3 to 5 month lead time to get them. So we want to get this purchase order going, but we won't be invoiced until after July 1.
So I'm looking at Anne because I'm just making sure because it's fiscal 26,
Right.
We can do this. Can you come up?
Just need to clarify which area of what funds they're coming from. Is it tax supported? Is it bonded?
I think all of our capital was from the extra duty.
Oh, extra duty.
I think.
The problem with that is we can't approve any POs until July 1st.
Okay, well, that's going to be a problem for us because we won't get the weapons until winter.
And do they have extra funds in there? Do you have extra funds in your?
We can see about moving it. If you want to approve the purchase continuing on us, figuring out where we're going to take those funds from.
Yeah.
A feeling
I think the vendor just needs some sort of approval to initiate the processing of the paperwork.
Okay, because I can't sign.
They're not going to invoice.
Yeah, so I want to make sure you get whatever you need, and I don't want to get stopped up because of a procedural problem. So, okay, so
we'll work it out.
Okay.
All right.
And we talked about this during the budget.
Yep.
We talked specifically about this. Can you just remind us about these weapons about the same as we've had? They're just replacing what we have, right?
They're
more modern,
a new caliber, new sights, modernized optics, and that's what's going to require some considerable more training. If they were the exact same ones that we had before, it would just pretty much be seamless. This is going to require a little bit more training, at least 2 days of training for each officer. So that's why we want to get them purchased and delivered in time to accommodate the training requirements once we do receive them. So that's why we're here now.
Makes sense. All
And
right.
how long, what's the useful life of these?
About 10 years.
10 years?
usually,
I
Yeah.
can remember. I knew you said that before, so, okay.
Yeah, we talked about the laser sights and we went into pretty deep conversation
Yeah.
when we approved it. So, yes. So I'm good.
Okay.
As long as Anne's
Yeah,
good.
so I'm gonna just do that a contingent in the language here, just so. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the New Canaan Police Department to enter into a contract with Jurek Brothers, Inc. in the amount of $45,800.55 for the purchase of 45 new duty weapons. The purchase will be allocated to the FY 2026 budget and contingent on being able to, enter into that PO early. So.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Thank you. And then request for travel.
Yes, apologies. This was a late notice. Officer Rienzi is at firearms training today and tomorrow. We found out late last week that the training today is going till 10 p.m. tonight and then starting again tomorrow morning because they need to do some nighttime training. So he's going to require overnight travel.
Any question?
No.
It's in state, right?
Yeah.
Not moving. Okay, so if I could get a motion to approve a request from the New Canaan Police Department for expenses related to firearms training for Nicholas Renzi on May 6, 2025 in the estimated amount of $130.
So moved.
Second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Stacy. Pay machines, parking pay machines.
Good morning.
Hi.
Requesting approval for the parking department to enter a contract with Flowbird in the amount of $91,775 for the purchase of 9 parking pay machines to be placed on Elm Street and South Avenue. Has already been approved for the budget of fiscal year 26, capital bonded. And the reason I'd like to start is because there is a 12-week delivery time from the time they receive the purchase order. So if we want them installed sometime this summer, hopefully by August, we need to start the process as soon as possible.
And this is bonded capital, so this is fine. Yeah, okay. So just because this is probably it's probably important for us to have an open conversation about this, just because it's a change to, we've been trying to socialize this, but just important for us to have a conversation in public so everybody hears. So gosh, when was it we were walking Elm Street and South? It feels a long time ago. Everything is, it takes a long time to do anything, but maybe could you just talk a little bit about the functionality of these machines? Because I think it's important for people to understand all the ways that these machines can be used. It's different than what we have currently.
Right. So the first thing that'll be a little bit different is it's going to be used as a pay by space instead of a pay by, a pay by plate instead of a pay by space. And we're going to change all the machines in the lots so that every machine works the same way. There's not going to be difference if you go into a lot or you're going to be on the street. We're also going to incorporate 2 other apps so that anybody coming into town will be able to use not only the pay by phone app, which is currently in our parking lots, but we're going to try to incorporate Park Mobile, which is owned by Flowbird. So that will be a great way to incorporate it, and Passport, which is another large parking app company. And it'll incorporate all the enforcement into the back office system. So the officers will have just their enforcement tools, and all the apps will integrate with one another. So nobody's going to have to worry about, okay, I have to download this app first prior to using the app. So they will be able to go up to the machine, pay with coins. They'll be able to go up to the machine and pay with a credit card, or they can pay for their space through the app. Do you want me to go into a little about what we were talking about as far as the time periods and stuff like that?
I think it's important.
Okay.
Yeah, the more
Yeah.
information states, the better.
Okay. So, anybody parking on the street is going to have to pay for a space. And we're trying to get the 15-minute intervals so that if they just need to run in someplace and they only need a 15 minutes, they will be able to pay for 15 minutes. It will be up to 2 hours. After the 2-hour time period, we're going to have a forced rotation. What that means is that nobody will be able to pay for another 2 hours unless they leave the street for at least 1 hour. Those are the
Currently what happens. That's a current-
regulations
that's
that
the
we
current.
have now in place as the timed parking. So if somebody's on the street for 2 hours right now, okay, they need to leave the street for at least an hour before reparking on the street. They cannot move up, they cannot move side to side. So they need to leave the street for at least an hour.
Is that done by GPS? Is that how? will that-
Yep. So our license plate reader will pick it up. If somebody's over time, it alerts us. So now these machines will work in the same way where if somebody's on the street for 2 hours and they want to stay on the street, they're not going to be able to pay for their space. So they would need to move off the street to a lot, to another street, something like that. So
Is there an automatic ticketing function where after a certain amount of time, the ticket would be issued electronically or?
no,
Okay.
we still have to physically
Yeah.
monitor, patrol the streets, issue tickets. So it's still going to be a person
Manual, yeah,
doing that.
okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's different about these machines is that they're solar powered. So there's no digging up the street or the
Ah,
sidewalk.
That was going to be my next question.
In our
Yeah.
parking lots, they're all solar powered. The only 3 machines that are hardwired are the ones at the train station.
Oh,
All of our machines, other machines are solar powered, so they're not hardwired.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are going to be a little different. They're touchscreen, they're color touchscreen.
They're
So
good in the sun so you can see them, you know?
yes, they're supposed to be better that way as well. It's going to be a tap instead of an insert of a credit card. Apple Pay will be accepted. So it's going to be a little different for me because it's going to be 2 separate back office systems currently that I'm monitoring from the current machines to these machines. So I'll have 2 separate systems for me to look at in the back office. But it's
Because
the
those
way they're going
companies,
to.
the companies we selected are some of the biggest companies in the
Yeah,
country. So
Flowbird is a
someone
very
comes
big.
in and that's visiting from out of state or from anywhere. A lot of people have Park Mobile on their phone already. And they
Right.
just, they don't have to
Right.
worry about it, which is good.
And the machines are what, the machines are the machines that are in New York City. The company also uses what they call Calais machines. So a lot of other towns have the Calais machine type machines. So people are familiar with these type of pay machines. It's really going to be all interactive, and it's going to explain everything that needs to be done, just like the machines now, but of course they're more advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of signage, we don't really need to oversign.
no, I think, and that's,
know.
okay, so you know me well.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
signs,
Yeah.
hate them.
Yeah.
So we are going to do the least amount we can but that will
Something.
allow people,
Yeah.
the machine itself has a big, P on the sign
Yeah.
and we can use some of the existing signage that we have. But I think it's also important to note, you can still use coins in these machines. You can use your credit card, but I think part of this rollout is we need to really do some education about, it's great if you download the app to your phone because you can pay remotely either right before you get there or right, and so the convenience, once we were talking about even going over to like Lapham to have Aggie teach, people at the senior center how to use the app so that they can, they can get some comfort in using it. But we're going to have to do a lot of education. I think it's also important to note that as part of this rollout, we are going to make Park Street, the upper lot at Park Street, free. So we're
Right.
taking the 75 slots on Elm Street and making people pay for that very convenient prime parking, but giving them the 100 spots up in Park Street for free.
Right. So what that's going to happen, we're going to add, so it's going to be like what Elm Street is now, it's free timed parking, but we're adding an hour to it. So now that if people have to go a little bit further to park, if they want the free parking, they will also have an extra hour.
Right.
Okay, so, and it's going to work the same way though, after that's a little bit more up for discussion, but it really should work the same way where after 3 hours, they need to leave that lot. They just can't stay there. So they need to leave that lot and go someplace else, another lot after 3 hours, at least for an hour. That hour is in our town regulations, our town ordinance. You must leave the area. So that's what we're kind of following.
Good. So then it's free. So you park there. I mean, you should be able to do whatever you're doing in 3 hours. And that's pretty reasonable.
We
So,
like to think so, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and then, but if you need some extra time, then you can move to one of the other lots, which are still gonna be paid.
Yeah.
The other lots are still gonna be paid.
and that Park Street lot is so convenient. I mean,
Mm.
there's those two alleys, the alley and the alley.
Correct.
And, people can get in and out of there pretty
Yeah.
easily. So,
And one last thing to add, that once we put this through and they start the paperwork, we will have a project manager assigned to us, and we will have access to marketing through them. So they will help us with signage if we want to keep them down. They will tell us how to add all the apps, one location, they will work with us on anything we need.
can
So,
you talk about where the new machines would be located? Have we figured that out?
yes, we did a walk, the time we did a walk. Now, I don't, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. So, the locations right now, and this is good with Tiger, he'll have to go out and work, but they were suggested in front of 25 Elm, 115 Elm, 143 Elm, 136 Elm, 116 Elm, 78 Elm, 24 Elm, and then one on each side of South Avenue. More likely in the middle of South Avenue on the side where the bagel store is, and then the other side by Dunkin' Donuts would be the other side.
Right.
And anybody could pay at any machine. So it doesn't mean that you have to, if you're parking in a certain location and then you forget to pay and you're running down one side of Elm Street, you can pay at the machine at Elm Street. You can pay on South Avenue. You can pay, if you're parked on South, you can pay on Elm. So they're all going to be incorporated.
That's great. I think part of that socialization that Deanna talked about, if there's a way that we could get a diagram of the street and the proposed spots and socialize that, because I think that's important for people to know where that's going to be, especially folks that own the stores and operate in there every day. I think it's smart to let them know exactly where
Yeah.
it's going to
We
be.
could put something together.
We
and
did
work.
mention it at the chamber breakfast, so, they were alerted at that point
Right.
to this coming, so. Yeah. That's
And
great.
these are just suggested locations.
right.
It's,
Well, that's why
it all
getting it out
depends on
early-
how, it works on the ground where they're putting up the machines and the locations and everything like that. So
Perfect. Well, it's exciting. This has been talked about for a long, long time.
a
So.
long time.
And, I've told Deanna many times that this is a brand new concept. And I think this is something that we're going to do, and we're going to see how it works. And we're hoping that it's 100%, but if it's 90% and we need to change something, we'll make it 100%.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to take a little adjusting,
Yeah.
and we're willing to work and educate people and, give them a heads up way ahead of time and work with them after, because I still think it will take some time. Correct. It is not, we're trying to keep Elm Street open and moving for people that just want to run in sometimes, or just go shopping for a little bit, but they don't need to be there for the 2 hours. And anybody that really wants to go to the restaurants and need extra time, Park Street, it's a beautiful walk down Elm Street. You park there, you go down, and then you don't have to worry, about running out, filling a meter,
yeah, we're doing all that work. So.
Yeah, and Tiger's already gone out to bid on the ramp for the alley between La Pen and the movie theater. And so that will be both a ADA compliant plus, great for, people with strollers and things like that, to make it an easily accessible route in addition to the Park Street sidewalk down to Elm Street. So But you're right. I mean, I've seen so many iterations of parking on Elm Street in the time I've lived here. I mean, we just need to be, you know, open to suggestions and listening and watching what's happening, and, you know, we'll adjust course as we need to. you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's never been a time in this town that we haven't studied parking and changed it. It's almost an annual
Yeah.
thing where we change something. I mean, it's just an ongoing process that we go through. So
Yeah.
this is
Changes.
yeah, this is a lot of change at once, but I think it's needed. So
We didn't want to do it. It was recommended through the company not to do it in pieces, like start the pay by plate before you want to get it all together. And it's also not that cost effective for them to work with us
Mhm.
that way, but it's easy to just get everyone started all at once. And we'll make it work.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah.
All right, if not, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the parking department to enter into a contract with Flowbird in the amount of $91,775 for the purchase of 9 new parking pay machines to be placed on Elm Street and South Avenue.
so moved.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Stacy.
All right. So Carriage Barn Courtyard renovation project. This. This.
Morning.
Being here. This has been a long time coming.
Exciting. Just to give some background on this project. In June of 2023, the Carriage Barn was one of 34 organizations in the state awarded a Good to Great grant from Connecticut Humanities and the state of Connecticut. And this was a grant program for capital projects for nonprofit arts, cultural, and history organizations to enhance the visitor experience. The grant of $128,000 is to complete an outdoor courtyard enhancement and create an active arts hub. Funds will be used to renovate and enhance the 1,500 square foot courtyard that serves as our main entrance and also links the art center with Waveney Park, to engage and draw in visitors to take advantage of all of our programming. While the existing courtyard is occasionally used, there are many limitations like the gravel surface, lack of lighting, lack of electrical outlets. So it's really not conducive to the types of programs we would like to implement. So working with the town, we explored some of the steps that would be necessary to renovate. And Tiger will outline the project in more detail, but some of the enhancements include replacing the gravel with a hard surface, lighting for after hours programs and events, a sound system for live performances and presentations, outdoor furnishings for gatherings and performances, and landscape enhancements. And just to give some background and context to this, in December of 2021, we worked with the town to complete an interior renovation that resulted in a new multi-purpose room for educational programs, the addition of air conditioning, new ADA compliant restrooms, an enlarged reception area and office. And these new spaces really enabled us to grow significantly and quadruple the number of programs that we offer, and expand into summer programming and events and more classes and workshops. So given the success, there's really been an increased interest and visitation to the Carriage Barn. So this additional outdoor space will just enable us to sort of continue on that momentum. And I will turn it over to Tiger to talk more specifically about the plan.
Well, thank you. You took most of it away, but which is good. So as Hillary mentioned, the exterior of the courtyard is actually stone, crushed stone with basically a bluestone walkway going to the larger doors, and then the passenger door or the pedestrian door. And the code requires that it be firm, stable, and slip resistant, which is not necessarily a stone or a crushed stone. So it's not ADA compliant. So the thought is to then take out that stone area and put in an entire bluestone patio, very similar. We're trying to match the carriage barn with the powerhouse, with Waveney. So to try to match, so as you go through the campus, everything is kind of one vision, so to speak. So that will be removed and replaced with that. There'll be some additional steps placed. So we have some issues with the stairs that go from the carriage barn down and around the corner. So those will be replaced as well. And we've been having a problem with drainage in that patio area. So there's a good amount of drainage that's going to go in underneath the patio and then wash itself out into the areas down gradient. So basically down the hill a little bit. Then there's some increases in just the lighting on the patio itself. So so it'll make it much more of a conducive area for her to have events outside. And then across the street, the lighting as well. So the parking lot lighting will be enhanced also, because we're having an issue with people coming down to the events, not just at the carriage barn, but also to the adjacent powerhouse coming down the staircase. We need to light that area a little bit better as well. So there's an upgrade to that lighting. Then there's an increase or in a sound system that will be installed for the patio and then the grass area to the side. And then the overall area will have a blanket look of landscaping. So across the street, if you're looking from the carriage barn, if you're out at a patio and you're out on the patio or in the area at an event, across the parking lot, it's just all scrub and not necessarily the best, right? It's just kind of a unkept area, and that will be redone as well. So there's a whole landscaping plan for the parking area that services the carriage barn. That parking area will have a landscaping enhancements as well. And then we're looking to take out the fencing that's between the carriage barn and the powerhouse. There's some fencing that goes along where there's a large embankment. It's older, not necessarily aesthetically pleasing, so that'll be removed, and some new wood fence will be installed there. So that's kind of the whole list of the project itself. We'll go out to we'll finalize the specs, and we'll go out to bid shortly, and then approving, given the approval is here, but then we'll come back for an approval of the project itself.
First, let's start out thanking Hillary. I mean, it's pretty amazing how you've transformed that organization and facility over the last number of years. I mean, I went last year to the Outdoor Arts Festival, and I mean, it's just impressive to see all that you've done with that facility. So thank you for all your efforts, because it really enriches our communities.
Yeah, it seems like there's 2 or 3 events a week. I mean, you are
It's
hopping over there.
great. And it's a beautiful building. I love those old stone buildings.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see some revitalization.
Very
going on.
vibrant.
And thank you for putting up with the headache of all that comes with state grants. It's get the word out. And thank you, Greg, for working with Hillary and Tiger and myself and Tucker to get
I can
this.
give you a quick overview of the documents that you're
That would
being
be
asked
great.
to approve.
That would be great.
And I wanted to also say congratulations to Hillary for going after the grant and getting the grant.
Yeah.
Not sure which is more difficult, getting the grant or managing the grant. But anyway, sincerely.
I'm not sure she's ever going for another grant after this.
That's great work, and that's why we're here. Good job on that. And so I'm here. We're involved because it's town property, and the documents that you're being asked to approve involve the town. So I'll give you the 4 documents. I'll give you a quick overview, if I may. The assistance agreement between the State of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, New Canaan Society of the Arts, Carriage Barn, and the town of New Canaan. That shows that the state agrees to provide to the NCSA a grant not to exceed $128,000 for an outdoor courtyard enhancement project. The pass-through agreement between the New Canaan Society for the Arts and the town of New Canaan states that NCSA grants the funds to the town as the subrecipient, and the subrecipient shall implement the project as spelled out in the agreement between the Carriage Barn and the state. The statutory lien is to be signed by the state and the town and the Carriage Barn, which has obligations under the terms of the agreement. The purpose of the lien is to secure the state's interest in supporting an active arts hub at the site and incentivize the town to keep the use of the parcel as an arts center for 10 years. The lien amount is equal to the size of the grant, $128,000. The lien will be reduced by 10% for each year that the premises is still used for the purpose as an arts center. So effectively, then, the lien will expire after 10 years. The last document you're being asked to approve is a certificate of applicant, which references the state's obligations to extend the grant to the carriage barn and to the town of New Canaan as subrecipient, and that Hillary is certifying that the corporation is in good standing with the state. So there you go.
And I think it's also important to note that this grant comes with it, the requirement of a 20% match. 10% is going to come from the town of New Canaan, 10% is coming from the New Canaan Society for the Arts. So, and if for some reason, after the bid documents go out and we get back whatever it is for this project and it falls short of 128, each of our contributions would be diminished by whatever the project scope is diminished by. So,
Yeah, so that, I mean, I think the going after a grant like this is huge, Greg. And thank you for, I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork involved in it. So there's no question about keeping this for 10 years. I mean, that's not even, it's been there for as long as I can remember.
50.
So, yeah, almost 50. So that part of it's pretty easy. And anytime when you hear a lien against something, though, it's always like, oh boy, but it's just a necessary part of what we're doing here. So I don't have an issue with that at all. I do love the sound of this project. I mean, we've all been over to the carriage barn and we've actually had a couple of events over there, and this courtyard area is the gateway to the whole facility, and it does need some work. I mean, it's been there for a long time, and some of the lighting on the wall in the front there is kind of shaky, and so I'm really happy that we're going to be able to get this done. One of the things that I hope we integrate is some outdoor electrical outlets. I don't know whether that's part of the
That was
scope,
part of
but
it, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, because that's having been over there a couple of times, looking around like, where are the outlets? There's no outlets.
Extension cord.
Yeah, exactly. You got extension cords running all over the place. So that'd be great. But that area that Tiger mentioned has always been very dark over there. You've got during the summer too, you've got the overhang of the trees, the foliage, and it's super dark. And it's actually a safety issue as people cross through
Well,
there.
and
So
I believe with the new light posts that are, separate of this project being
That'll
installed,
help.
there are going to be some additional light posts, I think, in that area.
So does the project include additional lighting on the stairs down? Is that what you're talking about? Or is that?
Is it just in the parking area itself and across on the sidewalk area in front of the carriage barn, and then across the street in the parking area? There's about 4 or 5 lights and lampposts there.
Yeah, those additional lampposts will be great, and that'll improve it a lot. So, I applaud the effort, and I think it's a great thing for the carriage barn, a great thing for the town. So thank you for bringing it forward.
And I just shout out to our attorneys, because I think there was a lot of work in minimizing the area for the statutory lien to keep it very tight around the carriage barn. So
Right,
I should do
right.
that as
Very
well.
important.
Yep.
Restricted, yep.
All right, now I have to apologize in advance because this process is, I actually have to read that. I can't just reference the
boy.
the agenda. Yeah, thank you.
State government.
So let me start with the approvals of the various agreements. If I could get a motion to approve the assistance agreement between the state of Connecticut acting by the Department of Economic and Community Development and New Canaan Society for the Arts and the town of New Canaan.
So moved.
It's seconded, unanimous. Could I get a motion to approve the pass-through agreement by and between the New Canaan Society for the Arts, Inc. and the town of New Canaan?
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Could I get a motion to approve the statutory lien filed by the state of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, DCD, and the town of New Canaan?
So moved.
It's second, it's unanimous. And could I get a motion to approve the certificate of applicant delivered to the state of Connecticut, New Canaan Society for the Arts, Inc., in connection with the extending of a certain grant by the state to the applicant and to the town of New Canaan as subrecipient in an amount not to exceed $128,000.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Now, if I need to read the resolution as part of the Carriage Barn Courtyard renovation project. Resolved that the actions of the first selectman in supporting the execution of the grant award from the state of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development to the New Canaan Society for the Arts, Inc. under DECD's Good to Great Grant Program in connection with the Outdoor Courtyard Enhancement and Active Arts Hub Project, the Courtyard Project, and the Carriage Barn located at Waveney Park are hereby ratified and approved. And further resolved that the terms of the assistance agreement between the DECD and the NCSA, pursuant to which the NCSA was awarded $128,000 under the DECD's Good to Great Grant Program for the Courtyard Project, the assistance agreement, and are hereby approved. And further resolved that the first selectman is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver to the DECD a pass-through agreement and any and all related and supporting documents as may be necessary and appropriate for the town to receive directly from DECD the grant funds awarded to NCSA under the assistance agreement so that the town can hire and pay a contractor to undertake the work on the courtyard project. And further resolved that the first selectman is hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver to DECD a statutory lien restricting the use of the carriage barn and surrounding grounds to the purposes indicated in the grant applications.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Thank you. I was like, am I going to trip over my words?
Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing the
Yeah,
finished
me
product.
too. Thank you. All right. So moving on to item 7, firefighter training equipment. Chief Bassett.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
The fire department would like to enter in contract and purchase the hog wall firefighter training prop from Dynamic Training Solutions for $19,000 with a $1,000 contingency just for potential shipping and packaging for storage. We might need to build some pallets so it could be stored at highway. And this is money that's available in the FY25 budget.
What is this?
It's basically a 4-foot by 4-foot panels that we could set up as different scenarios, whether it's a residential house, business office, various doors and windows. So we can have a mobile house anywhere we want, in a parking lot, in our apparatus floor, to do surge drills, move a hose around on it, and so on.
Did you have this set up in the lower garage? I think I saw it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
All right.
we actually looked at a diagram
Yeah.
when you
It,
presented this the first time, and
Yeah, we were looking at 2 of them. Unfortunately, the other company never was able to provide a good showing of it, so we didn't think they were at the level they needed to be. So we chose the hog wall
okay.
materials too.
Oh, good. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you have any questions?
None.
If not, if I could get a motion to approve request from the New Canaan Fire Department to enter into a contract with Dynamic Training Systems in the amount of $19,000 plus a contingency of $1,000 for total project costs of $20,000 for the purchase of a Hogwell firefighter training prop.
So moved.
It's unanimous. All right, and your fire department systems.
Yes, second one is approval to spend up to $15,000 with Air Cleaning Specialists of New England to complete the work on the exhaust system and make some repairs for the end of this fiscal year. The money is available.
And Albie, this is the exhaust system for the trucks, right?
Yeah,
The hoses.
yep. We switched to magnetic connections to the exhaust pipe. A little easier, less parts. Used to run on air, so that got all removed. We didn't switch all of the handles on them, and they tend to be falling off. So we want to upgrade those now, which they originally said we probably didn't need, but we need them.
Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
If I can get a motion to approve a request from the New Canaan Fire Department to enter into a contract with air cleaning specialists in the amount not to exceed $15,000 in order to service the apparatus exhaust systems.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you. John, paddle tennis court repairs.
Good morning. We'd like to enter into a contract with Riley Green Mountain Platform Tennis Courts of Orange, Connecticut. They're the ones that have actually built the courts and they maintain them for us. So this work is our normal summertime maintenance work. It includes painting of one court, which most years we rotate it around and paint one court each year, tightening the screens, patching them, fixing some of the wood that surrounds them, both the lower walls that you move for snow and also the texture 111 that goes down the side. So we're looking for a contract of $10,647 for this work, and we're looking for a contingency of 10% of $1,067 for a total cost of $11,714. This comes out of the FY25 operating budget. There is money available.
John, how often do you replace? I know that we've rotated over there, and when you say wood, and I know those flaps are wood and they wear out after a while. Have we ever looked at doing like Trex decking or something to replace that so it's permanent?
Well, the one thing with the wood is it's lighter.
Oh, okay.
So that's the main issue why we stick with the wood.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's finger jointed because that saves money. So over time, it does wear out. The texture 111, that's the skirts, is mainly there to, well, it makes them look better, but it also keeps the heat in when we have the heaters on. So,
but the wood, I guess, is just the way it is, right? I mean, it seems like anytime we replace decks these days or do anything, we look at synthetic stuff. So it lasts.
Exactly, but the weight concern is our main issue.
Okay.
So because they have to flip out and up to push the snow out in the winter.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and I know it's more expensive too. So
yeah.
So is this, remind me, is this kind of what we spend annually, or will this be, like every couple of years we'll have to spend this?
We spend that basically the same amount annually. You could go up and down. We do paint one court a year. We tighten the screens and there's always some patching.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, is it you guys that do the walkthrough, or do you involve anybody else from the paddle leagues or anything?
We don't bother involving the paddle leagues because most of it is maintenance. The main thing we would do if somebody was complaining, hey, then the back screen is loose on court 2. Yep. Yes, we'd incorporate that. This year, we didn't have any of those complaints.
Good. All right.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract with Riley Green Mountain Platform Tennis Courts in an amount of $10,647 plus a contingency of $1,067 for total project cost of $11,714. The project entails maintenance work to the paddle tennis courts at Waveney Park during the off season.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, contract renewals.
Morning.
Morning.
Sure.
Can you start off and tell me, are these for FY26 contracts?
They are.
Okay.
Well, you got too many boilers. That's all I can say. You got too many boilers.
I agree. So during the budget process, we originally had multi-year contracts in the past, and they all going to expire June 30th. So going into the budget process, we want the bid order earlier so we can have some good solid numbers going into the next fiscal year. Worked out pretty well. And trying to get a little jump on the season here just because we have all these new contracts and not to overwhelm the board in July, like everybody does with all the new purchases. And also we're going to be utilizing our new contract module, the Munis, that I've been training on. So I just want a little head start on that because it is quite the elaborate program, which I do like. It's just a little learning curve still. Nobody doing a lot of training on it. So we just want to get these in, test them. I've been working with Ryan. He's been great. I think it's going to work out really well. I just need the time.
These are new, like temporary budget person in finance.
Oh, good.
Good in Munis. So we've been working together a lot on this stuff.
Yeah.
So the first ones are contract approval would be for the boilers. We did go out to bid. Like I said, we had, on all of these, we had 5 people or companies respond to the RFP, did the tour with us. In the day, we had 2 submit bids, and the third one missed the date. Unfortunately, apparently, the guy who was handling it was on vacation, and no one delivered anything until 2 weeks later, and we did not accept. So with that being said, we also, on the bids, we broke things up a little bit to the users, to the lower prices. So we have two vendors mostly involved here. So the first one for boiler maintenance, CD Longo, was the low bid at $43,575. And we'd request a contingency with that for $43,557 for the total request for the 3 years of $47,932.50. I broke it down for you on the request on fiscal year, and the first year would be $13,380.
Bill, I just, going back, I'm looking at least what's put on the tablet. What were the other, I mean, I know you don't have to get a formal bid because it's under 50, but like quotes, what were the other, like for the boiler maintenance? What were the other numbers? I don't see, do you see them? I don't see them. This is sideways in our, we're both looking like this in our tablets.
I did not bring that information with me. Excuse me?
You have the other 2.
No, I didn't bring those with me. I just focused on the lower bids.
Yeah, we have to see, I mean, because these are over 25,000, we're supposed to see sort of even though you don't have to get a formal bid, we're supposed to have quotes for anything over $25,000 and just to see it.
Okay.
Annually, it's under, I agree with you.
Because it's a
yeah.
service contract, are you saying?
No, well, it's for fiscal 26, it's actually 14,718 with contingency.
I'm looking at the boiler contract. And that's $47,000.
That's that for 3 years.
That's the 3 years.
Oh, it's a 3, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We did go
So it's-
formal bid on
Okay.
these only because I did not know if we were gonna hit the 50 or not.
Okay.
So we
Okay,
treated
sorry.
it.
So are all of these, or these are different terms, or are they all?
They're all 3 years.
All 3, okay,
Yeah, we
good.
went from 5-year terms the last go around to 3 years
Right,
this
got
time.
it, okay.
All right, so let me just see something. So do you have then for the HVAC maintenance?
Hmm? They have this. Yeah, but they don't have the secondary and third. bids.
Okay, once they've seen this, they can see the 3
Okay,
years.
so bid results.
Right. Then they have this.
No, no, okay, so this one, okay.
Mhm.
They have this, but it's sideways on their tablet.
Okay,
All right, so for the HVAC, I see you have both Longo's and Garomella's bids, and you couldn't get a third bid. Is that what you said? The third one
right,
never
third
came
one,
in?
2 didn't respond to didn't deliver anything. The third guy called me 2 weeks late, said he was on vacation. Oh, well.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I recognize all of these names too. I mean, they've all done
Yeah.
work for us in the past, and
Yeah, they've been
they've
very
been
good to
solid.
us over the
CV
years.
Longo is been around a while.
And so the cleaning services, the other, this one you definitely need bids.
Right, that's 900,000.
Yeah, so what were the other bids on the cleaning services?
Oh, so the cleaning service was interesting. We had, again, we had 5 companies respond to it. And cleaning services are interesting business because it's like corporations own them, and then if they get the bids, they go out and franchise it out. And that's been a problem in the past. After talking to the town's attorney about, not having control over actually who's coming in because it's a franchisee. He said I was able to, he helped me put the document together to limit what they can do, and franchising out wasn't acceptable. These 2 companies said they weren't going to franchise it out, but they never showed up for the bid. And so I ended up with, actually it was 3 of them. And so we ended up with P&M Partners, who's been doing work for us for years, and they're great. They're local here in Norwalk. And the current cleaning service that's doing the town hall now, they also just bidded a couple of the buildings. At the end of the day, when we went through it, it was P&M Partners who came in with their favorable
So,
price.
but Bill, the question is, where are the bids?
Oh,
I need the bids for anything that's over 50, we have to see the bids.
Okay, I have to submit them all to and put together. So
All right, so why don't we take that out from approval? Because I want to see the bids before we approve. And then, so we see the HVAC multiple bids on that, or the quotes, right? The one with I just want to make sure we see that. That one we can do. Okay, MA Garamella, it's cleaning services. Because you have both. Let me see that. Not cleaning service, the maintenance, sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong file. Maintenance. So that one, we see the bids for, here, wait. Where's the MA Garamella? I thought I saw multiple bids.
Oh,
on
which
that one.
one?
Did you see that?
HVAC.
That's on the HVAC.
I haven't broke down
It's
yet.
not, it's not,
Oh, I'm
in-
on the HVAC.
I mean, it's broken down per building here, but not,
Yeah, so again, that's over $50,000. You said you got two bids.
oh yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's side by side.
They're side by side. And the,
Yeah, there we go.
layout is
That's
side by
right. It's,
yeah.
it's like, I
Yeah.
see it, Longo and Garamella. I thought I saw both of them. Okay, so that one's fine. Okay. So we can keep these three.
All right, we'll defer the cleaning service and next time we'll get you the information that you need.
Have any questions on any of these?
No, I
contracts?
mean, these maintenance contracts, if they're 3 years, seem very reasonable for
Yeah.
the amount of buildings we're talking
Yeah.
about. The cleaning service, obviously, that's a big number, but.
Yeah,
you know,
we got a
that's
lot of buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not debating the
Yeah.
price. I just want to be able to see the quotes.
And just, we did, I did,
Bids, actually.
and in the numbers I omitted, Irwin, main house is taken out of, that was also part of the bid.
Oh, good.
I-
So
I-
you
I-
remove
yeah,
those?
I removed those.
Okay,
and-
so all of these service
Just like
agreements
that.
don't have Irwin. Jeez.
Correct.
Wow, okay,
All right.
all right. Any other
Yeah, so
questions?
if you want to scratch a cleaning service, that'd be fine.
Okay,
If we scratch it, there's no, we're not gonna.
No, we
just
have
come back
time.
next.
We have time.
Yeah.
We're just trying
I'm
to
coming back
layer you
next week.
in.
I'll be
so
here,
you
you'll be
don't
seeing me
come-
every 2
anyway,
weeks.
so just, we
Yeah,
can just add
It's
that.
not a big document, and it's just,
Yeah.
she gave us 3 numbers for 3 buildings, Town Hall, Annex, and Vine.
That's fine.
So that's all they wanted to do, so.
All right. Any other questions? All right, so if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into, and I'm just gonna confirm, these all have the language that, subject to,
But yeah, subject to,
and what's that language? Non-appropriation clause, so subject to the appropriation. Okay, so these all have the non-appropriation clause. Okay. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a 3-year renewal contracts for the various systems and services in town buildings as follows. Boiler maintenance, CV Longo Mechanical, $43,575 with a contingency of $4,357.50, totaling $47,932.50. Gas boiler maintenance, MA Garamella Co. Inc. In the amount of $11,190 with a contingency of $1,119 for a total of $12,309. And then HVAC maintenance, MA Garamella Co. Inc. In the amount of $141,420 with a contingency of $14,142, bringing a total to $155,562.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay.
Um,
So the next item is approve the request to contract architectural preservation studio in the amount of $6,500 for a condition assessment report for the herb cottage at the Nature Center. That's the old greenhouse shack there. They used,
Not a shack.
oh, it's a building.
It's a nice cottage.
It's a cottage that had all the greenhouses were attached to it. So they'd like to bring it back to life. And this would be the first phase to get an assessment on it. And then they are talking about adding a greenhouse to it.
So this is down, remind us where it is again. It's down is it past the greenhouse area? Is that?
No,
where-
it's to the left of the director's house. You know where the director's
Oh,
house
yeah,
is?
Where the
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
community
sure, sure.
garden,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the community garden used to be there on the
absolutely.
left-hand side.
Gotcha.
And then there's like a little, almost Victorian looking. It's got a lot of
Yeah, it's
ornate.
ornate. Yeah.
Mhm. That's the,
Yeah, it's cute.
yeah, just needs a lot of TLC.
Yeah, but since they're looking at putting in an additional greenhouse in the area where the herb garden was, that now they're looking to revive that area and reutilize it. So this is first step in looking at that building and making sure that, whatever needs to happen happens.
So where are we, just, since we're here and it's come to my attention, where are we in cleaning up that garden? I know that they want to put the greenhouse there. So where are we?
Contractor's going to be there mid-month.
Mid-month,
So within
okay.
about the next week, he should be
Okay.
there. The weather's,
Yeah, this
so
is not
when
ideal.
we talked to him, he said in April, he had said, I'll be there in mid-May. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that it's still mid-May and hasn't slid, but the goal
They're
is
just gonna
mid-May.
put stone down there?
Make grass. So they're gonna
Okay.
remove the stone, remove all the weeds and everything that are there and then plant grass, because that was what was requested by
Nature
the
Center?
nature center. That's
Okay.
correct. And then at that point in time, they'll have a clean slate, do whatever they want. When they put the greenhouse in, if they put the greenhouse in, we just asked them to be raised beds, which is what they wanted to do anyways, so they'll stay off the soil. And we can go from there.
All right.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
No.
If not, if I could get an approval of a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Architectural Preservation Studio, DPC, in the amount of $6,500 to provide a conditions assessment report for the herb cottage at the New Canaan Nature Center.
So moved.
Second, unanimous. All right, and then design services.
Yeah, next one's design services, to contract Architectural Preservation Studio, the amount of $40,000 plus contingency $4,000 for a price of $44,000. This will be the education building. That's the one that's to the right of the director's house here, the bigger building up there, to get it up to ADA compliances, put a ramp in the front. We have to rework the bathrooms in there to make them ADA compliant, and then add some classrooms. This will be a shared, cost share project with the Nature Center. We're looking at doing the ADA stuff, getting all designed up, and then they will pay the additional to do their classroom designs and to build those too. This is the first step. Let's get the design, let's get up bids who we are. Timing is very difficult here because it is a school, it's a daycare programs and what have you throughout, and day camp during the summer. So we're gonna have to try to figure out the logistics of this and timing, so that we don't disrupt their schedule. It's a tight schedule. It's like any other school. And I don't think I'll be able to hit it for this July, August. So it might be next year, but we got to start with the design and get it out there and see what we're working at.
So how much of the cost, like, so, anytime we look at these architectural costs, we always ask some questions, but of that, is that the total amount or is that our portion of the amount?
No, that's the total amount to design everything.
And that
That's
includes,
just for the design, the mechanicals and stuff. We're going to do more on the design build type of situation because of that building and what's currently there. We don't want to reinvent and rip out stuff that's there. We're going to try to work with what's there now, which we think we can, so that we're not adding more equipment.
So we're paying the design services for the entire, everything that's happening, even though we're not going to be taking care of the classroom renovation. The
Currently,
Nature
that's
Center is doing that.
correct. Currently, that's how it's kind of laid out because I need to lay out all the ADA stuff, which is kind of incorporating their stuff.
Yeah.
Their cost share as far as the construction will be up for discussion when the time comes and we get the bids back, their contribution. And I'm gonna try to phase it so I can identify exactly what they want their costs are when we write the documents. So it's so until we actually get it all laid out, and that's why we need to kind of get the whole design figured out first. There's a lot involved.
How big a project are we anticipating their share and our share being? Like, how much money do you anticipate approximately? I know I'm not gonna hold you to it. You haven't bid it out, but
We have 150 on our side, and I'm anticipating their side can get up there to over 100. Because there's fire sprinklers involved that has to be extended and relocated in some areas. the classroom designs themselves are a little tricky. I'm working with the fire marshal's office on occupancy loads. It goes by that. Then there's the state Department of Education that has their own requirements. And you always have to build to the worst case. And sometimes when the Department of Education is involved, it increases some of those things. These are all things we have to look at, especially about the age group of kids. So this is all part of Architecture Preservation Studios scope to pull all that together and to figure out, and we'll meet with the Nature Center folks to understand exactly, you have one shot to do it, right? You can't tell me you want this today, we build it, then they change the age groups, everything in the future, which will change with the building non-conforming. So we have to understand all that upfront. Do this once, do it right.
So what's like in sort of your, because you do this all the time, what sort of is the standard percentage of design services as a percentage of a total project that we're typically seeing?
Usually for the architectural portion of it is usually about 10% of the overall,
10 to
10 to 15%.
This is high,
15%.
17.6 with contingency.
Yeah.
Based on
Oh,
a
yeah,
250,000.
I was just doing 40 out of 250, but
Right. So-
normally it's about 15%. It's an older building.
It's
Yeah.
17.6%.
Yeah, and there is, yeah, and that might be reflecting because of the extra work. They have to work with another agency now, a state agency, Department of Education, to understand
So
it. And there's.
The reason I'm asking, I mean, I think they've done good work for us, but, who else do we use to do this kind of, design? I mean, you're paying a lot for their design services. So, I mean, I think they do good work, but it's on the high end. Obviously, you said 10, then 15, and now we're at 17. It's a high quote.
Well,
So did you ask anyone else, or do we use anyone else for these kind of services?
in this particular case, I did not. Carl, well, they're local for one thing, and they specialize in these older buildings, and they understand these older buildings. And
Doesn't Hoffman also do this work?
I don't think
They're
so.
more an assessment group than.
They do more assessment. They don't do the design work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And given the, just the history we had with the Architecture Preservation Studio, they've been great working with us, and they do a lot of extra stuff for us,
Mhm.
because they're always here.
I think we're paying for it. I mean, it's nice, but we're paying a premium for that.
Sure. I do know I've worked with the Department of Education at the state level.
Yeah.
To get combat pay for that one, but
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's a lot of going back and forth with them and understanding, and then they got to inspect everything. It's extra work without a doubt. I've done it before at the Nature Center.
Okay. So then when we do this, you said design build, and I'm sure that's going to raise a lot of like alarm bells in town. What's the next phase after you do this? Like, because we don't build it.
No, so what'll happen in this case here, once we get the architectural, the layout, everything,
Mhm.
I'll probably ask Eastern Mechanical, because they have a whole in-house department to handle designs. They have the equipment to do rivet, which they can do 3D dimensional, layered over floor to floor, because we have to do the bathrooms on it's 3-4 buildings, so we're in the midsection. So now we have to get into the ceilings and stuff, and the first level, get to the waste pipes and the water and the heating system, all that. So they'll be able to lay that out. And I don't know if you've seen the designs for the playhouse, but they gave us to us in 3-dimensional, so you were able to transparently see how everything lands in the building. They do that as part of the service to, they did it from the Waveney too just now. It was great. They're very good at it, and we've been working with them guys
At
for
what
30 years.
level does it make sense? So like, I mean, obviously the Playhouse was a $4 million project to start. At what level does it make sense to, do what we did with the police station, where you bring in an outside contractor and a project manager? Like what is the dollar?
Yeah,
It's a much higher level because you're paying.
But what? I mean, I'm just trying to, like, there's got to be a crossover point at which you say, we can't do this. We need to bring in somebody else.
you have an over $5-10
Yeah,
million
about $5 million
product.
Okay.
Plus
Yeah,
you
I just want to
probably like that.
understand. Okay.
And yeah, you'll be paying more for your design and construction
Yeah.
administration service than you would for the work itself.
Okay.
Yeah, the Playhouse kind of tipped that scale.
Started under, yep. Yep.
Right where we were at, about that $5 million mark would be a good mark to say, okay, no.
Okay.
I gotta say though, Bill, more, we started talking about this initially, like, okay, we're gonna replace some ADA ramps in the front, and we're gonna do a little facelift to the classrooms, around 250-ish or so. The more you talked about sprinklers and walls and ceilings and that number, my head is just going like, whoop, there's another boom, 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 boom. I mean, it just sounds more, this sounds like a bigger project than the number that I'm hearing. I don't know, just that's my gut based on knowing what construction costs are today. And it's not going down, it's only going up. So.
Right, so on our end, we know we have to address, and that's what we were looking at. When I met with them, to go over what they wanted, and not getting a number from them yet, they want to see what comes in at. They said they're fully committed to doing this. Until we get it all laid out. Sprinklers are not horrible when it comes to actually pricing. You would think it's very, very expensive. When you look at the whole scope of a project, the sprinkler systems are not really too bad when you look at everything. So,
well, I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah.
As an example, like the Playhouse, for instance, I think it was to do that entire building brand new, including bringing in the new water lines and everything, was only like $170,000 for sprinklers. When you look at the size of the building and what was involved, it's not too bad.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Architectural Preservation Studio, DPC, in the amount of $40,000 plus a contingency of $4,000 for a total cost of $44,000. The project entails the designing of new classrooms, ADA bathrooms, and an ADA ramp at the New Canaan Nature Center building.
So moved.
Probably should say at a, not the. There's a few buildings over there. Okay, second.
Yep.
It's unanimous. All right, Waveney House ADA project.
All right, so this is a change order to the current contract with Alden Bailey, to be change order 17 and change order 18. The scope of these change orders, 17 is when we designed what the manufacturer sent in the shop drawings from the elevator, the steel columns that will run from the basement up to the attic, we're kind of interfering what we need for the space constraints we were fighting with. So we need to actually turn those steel tubes and everything, and that requires a redesign and a little bit on the cost on the type of steel by turning them. So that's the 18,618. The second electric allowance for $30,000. You can't see those, even if you guys would like to, we'll take for a tour over there. If you go into the basement, you can see now exactly where the elevator is. The room is built, and we actually took out the concrete underneath the wood floors. So the last thing would be to cut the wood floor. Now you have your hole. When we removed all that concrete, we came across, I think it was 11 electrical conduits that were buried inside the concrete. I think
I did see that. Yes, it's just wires.
It's
like
it's the old steel pipes from 1912.
it's a lot of wires.
And they go to a panel that's actually hidden under the staircase. So where the elevator's going is actually a panel there you can secretly open. It has all the light switches. And we have to relocate that because the elevator's going to go away. So we have a way of doing that. Unfortunately, we did not know the conduits were buried because we have no original electrical plan. So, and we were asking for the allowance because this is one of those things, okay, well, we think we could do it this way, but what else are we going to run into? So it was hard to get a fixed number on it. So we felt that doing an allowance on this would be the best way to approach that. So we're not keep coming back.
I'm glad Amy's not here. That's all I can say. I'm glad Amy's not here. That's all I can say.
No.
Yeah. Can you just do a little better? You know, we probably need to start to see maybe the next time you come back, the actual drawings for the elevator.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, I mean, I know what you keep saying, you're moving these bars and it's costing us 20 grand,
We have
19,000.
a rendering coming.
A new rendering is coming? Okay.
I finalized it.
How close it is to that beautiful picture I have on the poster board that you showed me?
Close to be a little darker.
Yeah.
Right, we changed the tint of the paint. Yeah,
I'm hopeful I'll have it for the next meeting.
Okay.
I just talked to Mitchell yesterday.
Yep.
And finally released it based on what we chose on that color design and
Okay.
everything, and that's all they were waiting for. So as soon as I get it, I'll let you. You'll be the
okay.
first to know.
I think you should bring it to the next Board of Selectmen meeting,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think we have some more things to discuss. on
Absolutely, that'd be
this, so
cool.
That would be good.
I mean, it's just obviously is something that's unforeseen, and we have to do it. I mean, we've tore into a wall, we found something,
Yeah.
and now we've got to deal with it. So
Joys of old buildings.
Yep.
Okay, so if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to We have a change order from Alden Bailey Restoration in the amount of $48,618 plus a contingency of $7,300 for a total of $55,918 for additional services related to the elevator installation at Waveney House.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. All right, Parks Garage concrete
Garage,
apron.
last one. So this one here is, I believe it's going to be the last phase of all the work we've done over the years on the garage to get it up to par over there. This is the concrete apron that leads into the garage bays themselves. It's settled over the years. Some of it, section of it is original, going back before I was here. And it's settled quite a bit and it's cracked in some areas. And it's a really safety issue because now to get into the garage, it's like a 4-inch lip in some areas. And in order to get lawnmowers, that they got little board stuff out there. So it's really concerning. And not only that, the bollards here that protect the openings are all rotted away and there's only one left out of them. So the project is to restore those bollards with a bigger, better, heavier one, do the concrete the proper way. I worked with Tiger on laying out design on the grid, on the rebar, what have you, and the concrete itself and the thickness. So we actually went out and had the 3 companies came out, all visited the site with me, and we went over everything. And Fortino Esconti, who does great work, came in at the overbid. So I'm happy for that.
Any drainage involved in that, or is it just?
No, it's strictly just the apron. We're not, there's some drainage out there that works okay. And I spoke to Tiger about actually the asphalt leading up into that because it is also getting old, but I don't know where he is on that program. I know he has programs for parking lots, whatever. I'm just going to do the initial
Apron itself.
Apron. And
Okay.
then we've put a new roof on the building. We've painted it. We've done some other repairs over here and we really got it up. It's looking pretty good, actually. I went by last night, kind of looked at it, it's starting to look pretty good. It's right there. That's why it's got to look good, right?
Okay.
All right.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Fortina Escalante in the amount of $24,250 plus a contingency of $2,425 for a total cost of $26,675. The project entails removing the old apron and installing a new reinforced concrete apron with 6 bollards at the Parks Garage.
So moved.
Second. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
There's,
Need a little reinforcement for this one. So.
I was gonna say, I remember this truck from budgets.
So good morning. I'm joined by Lou Boyce and Jimmy Peck from the Highway Department. And this is to bring forward a purchase of a Sika Model Eco 900 combination sewer truck from Chadwick Barros for the cost of $638,255.61. It's Sourcewell contract number 101221 SCA. We put this through the capital budget this past year, fiscal 26. It went through the 3 boards and then it was approved. And then for authorization from the Board of Finance and the Town Council. So the monies are available for us now. The budget was $640,000. We were glad that we had been working with this idea all along. So we're happy that the pricing overall from Sourcewell came in underneath. It's a needed purchase. I'll let Luke talk a little bit more about it, but we're very excited to bring this back into our fleet, I should say. If you have any questions or hit it harder.
There we go. Good morning. Our real goal is that our lead time is going to be shortened. We should be hopefully seeing this truck, if it's approved, sometime October, November, which we're super happy about because typically lead times have been 12 to 18 months for some of this CDL class trucks. We demoed this truck and another truck about 2 years ago. Happy with the simplicity, lack of computers on this truck. Today's world, one wire goes, it's, the truck sitting on the side of the road. We did purchase a 7-year warranty for all the emissions. It helps out tremendously. There's a tow package. So like if we break down, they'll give us money, get it towed to the dealer. That is There's just so much wiring, like, I'm sure Steve knows, one wire shuts the whole truck down. So, and that goes for everything, not just this one. And we've been purchasing the extended warranties on all of our bigger trucks that we've been getting in lately. So there's not much mechanical stuff anymore. But we're super happy, and our plan is to next year to clean all of our stormwater infrastructure. So, and we can start from scratch, and then we know, we'll be at the entire town will be clean. That's the plan. So.
Good.
We're really looking forward to it if it gets approved.
Yeah,
With this truck, I think we can meet those goals. We can at least, it's so valuable. Something actually be out almost every day, weather permitting, and the idea that it has the jetter on the front too. If you get an outlet pipe that's clogged in the basin while you're doing it, you can clean the basin and then flush the pipe all at the same time.
Okay.
So, which is huge.
Save a lot of time.
It is, it's huge.
So I'd seen, I think I mentioned to Tiger, so I understand when it's going to be used, because I saw an outside contractor truck cleaning out the storm drain.
They were on South Avenue.
Or Heritage Hill, something like that. Oh, South Avenue. It was South Avenue.
Yeah.
So is that something we would do when we get this truck, or no, we'd still need those kind of outside contractors?
That's something we can do. That was actually the state doing their drainage, because there was a state road in anticipation of the 36-inch main coming in the summer.
Okay.
They were doing theirs.
Okay.
But it is something that, to Jimmy's point, and to yours, was if we're out there and we're sucking out the catch basin and we notice that pipe that's leading into it is clogged, he can then jet that pipe right there with the jetter that's on the front. So we don't have to go to an outside contractor.
Okay.
At that point in time. We'd have the capability right there. Whereas at present, we do not. We did prior, and then it left our fleet about 4 years ago. And
So we're paying an outside contractor when we need that.
we're paying an outside contractor at present.
Give me an idea how much that.
It varies across the board. We're not paying a contractor to do all the catch basins, but our outside contractor limit is about $30,000 to $45,000 a year, just on jetting lines before, say, we pave, because we'll come out there and clean them and jet them before we pave to make sure that they're good.
Check all our catch
This
basins.
this can do that for us.
Yeah.
So when
will this help? Like I'm kind of like thinking through sort of the intense storms that we're getting and the water that we're getting, using this truck and not having to bring somebody in, it allows us to maybe make, in preparation for storms and things like that, making sure that we don't have as much flow into the wastewater treatment facility from the outside water incursion.
Yeah, a little
I know we
different,
have to
but
do
yes, yeah, a little differently, because it's stormwater versus sanitary.
Right.
But it would help convey the water away, so that if there was a flooding area, it wouldn't go into the manhole and then come to the treatment plant.
Yep.
But right now we have separate systems. We have.
But I mean, our INI study says we have incursion, so.
Right, but so it will help in the end, because we could get the water in and out.
Yep.
So it wouldn't then inflow or infill at that point in time, wouldn't saturate everything that's underneath and come forward. It would get out of the area. But it is a little, it's
separate systems.
Yeah, separate
Mhm.
systems. I don't,
Okay.
but it will help us with localized flooding in areas where we're being called out to residents having issues, things of that nature.
All right. I want to see it when it comes in.
Yeah.
Take you for the first ride if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Does the company actually train the guys as far as operations go? I mean, handing this very expensive piece of equipment over and saying, "Hey, have a good day." I mean, how much?
Lucky that we
We
have
are.
3 employees for the town that actually work for SNS.
Oh,
Oh,
10 years, I think 2 of them were 10, the other guy was 5.
Mhm.
And SNS does a lot of the outside contracting for us, so.
oh, that's
Right.
great. How
Yes,
lucky are we?
They have a lot of experience with the truck already, which is huge.
great.
It's going to be a big help. So
Okay.
All right.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Chadwick Barros in the amount of $638,255.61 for the purchase of a new SECA or SECA model Echo 900 combination sewer truck.
So moved.
Second and unanimous.
And for anybody watching, I mean, I think it's a point that we've all discussed this truck ad nauseum in
Yeah.
prior meetings. So this wasn't the only discussion to buy a $638,000 truck.
Right.
We've all looked at it. All the boards have looked at it. So,
Yeah.
But this is the last step. So we're anxious to see it.
Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Dredging.
So this next item is for dredging of the Nature Center Kiwanis Pond. So there's a Kiwanis Pond in the Nature Center. It's not Kiwanis Park.
And you have me confused.
Right. Yeah, you weren't the only one. So I actually had the first Prez called and said, we don't abut Kiwanis Park. And I said, it's not Kiwanis Park, it's Kiwanis Pond at the Nature Center.
What's the history? Was it Kiwanis?
It was, it was Kiwanis back in, I think in the 50s that helped create the pond. The Kiwanis group. And there's 2 ponds on the Nature Center property. So I wanted to differentiate the 2 ponds. The only way to do that is to name it. So
This is the main pond. When
this
you
is-
come in, you see it as you're driving in on the right, back by the old goat shed. That one?
it's a little bit further back, but yeah, it's the main pond.
Yeah.
Yeah. If as you're walking past the goat shed, it's off.
Back
it's
beyond
it's
on
back
the
beyond
left,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
And then
There's like a little path that goes right that way, and that's on the left-hand side.
That's correct.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we went out to bid, excuse me, we advertised for this and then solicited directly from some contractors. We received 5 separate contracts back or bids back. They ranged in price from 170,000 to 447,000. The Peter Lonnie was the low at 170,456. They added a 15% contingency of 25,000 for 195,456. The original budget for this project in fiscal 25 was $250,000. And we've already gone and gotten our inland wetland permit. And then we actually had to get a separate special permit from P&Z because we had an excess amount of material being moved on site. We're taking the material from the pond itself out and putting it in another area on the property, as well as there's an adjacent area to the wetland itself that is full of phragmites. We're going to pull those phragmites out, dispose of those, but the area that we now have excavated out, we need to put some of the material from the pond back in that. So because of that, we needed a P&Z permit. We just went for that last month. So we got the wetland permit on the 24th, the P&Z permit on the 29th. And this will be done in August. Is the look. The Nature Center would like us to be there in August. It'll take us 4-6 weeks minimum to go in there and do all the work. So we'll bridge from the time when they're closed, the last school for the summer, and then when they start to open. So we'll be bridging that gap, that time frame.
Much smaller pond than when we did Mill Pond, but there's no plans of doing any kind of catch area where you can.
Not
catch
here.
sediment.
No, a sedimentation. Yeah. Forebay. No, it's not. It's a little bit different. And there is another pond up above that actually is the sink. So this is just more detritus and leaf flow versus the other one is the sink for coming in from the neighboring properties up off of say Country Club Parade Hill West up through that area that comes down through there. That's that pond. That might be when we get to that point, might be the thought of doing something with the sediment forebay there.
Yeah, because I think we've done this pond sometime in the past.
Not that I remember. No, it's been quite a while. I don't know.
Or like back when Judy Neville was first selectman, there was talk about ponds that were coming up with a lot of growth that we had to do it so that they didn't become like a permanent
correct
pond. But I don't know. Maybe this wasn't one of the ponds. But.
That we had that issue with Mill. We were worried about Mill. We were very worried about Mill that the sandbar was starting to once it starts to grow vegetation and it starts to change. You necessarily can't take it out. So I know we had that on there, but I don't remember last time this was done.
How deep is this pond? Do you have any idea?
I knew you're going to ask me one question I didn't have.
I'm curious. I mean, it's
8 to 10 feet, I believe, was what we were looking at.
And how do we know when it's time to dredge it? You show signs.
You can see that you can actually see the material below the water line. And so we know that it's time. And then that starts to affect the flora and fauna that are around it. So this has been on our radar for quite some time, and we've been pushing it a little bit, and now it's to the point where we need to bring it forward.
And the fill that's coming out of that, you said is gonna go where? That's
So as you, so they have that butterfly meadow up above off of 124. And there's an access road that leads, that is between the parking area for the First Pres Church and that butterfly meadow. There's a kind of a gravel access road right there right between the parking lot and the access road before the butterfly meadow.
level an area out.
Yeah, we'll increase the height by approximately 2 feet throughout. It's about an acre of area.
Replanted with grass, I guess.
Yeah, with a wetland mix and to hopefully kind of increase the butterfly meadow area, like a pollinator pathway, a little parklet for that. That's the thought.
Yeah, another benefit. All right.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Peter Lonnie Inc. in the amount of $170,456 plus a contingency of $25,000 for a total cost of $195,456. The project entails the dredging of Kiwanis Pond and other necessary improvements at the Nature Center.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous.
We need a sign at Kiwanis Pond.
That says Kiwanis Pond.
No,
It's apropos because the next item is about signage, but so I'm joined by our town engineer, Maria Coplet. And so this one is a project that is mandated by the Federal Highway Administration as part of their manual on uniform
unfunded
traffic control.
mandate.
Unfunded.
Unfunded mandate.
Yes, as part of their manual on uniform traffic control devices. Back in 2009, when the manual came out, they talked about signage and retroreflectivity, and then increasing letter height for older drivers and for recognition. And they asked you to go, they told you to put through a plan to do your road signs first, meaning your caution signs, your regulatory signs, and we have a plan in place for that. The manual came out, the newest manual came out in 2023, and now it's basically street name signs have to be done. They were labeled in the 2009, but they said get your road signs done first before you go to do your street name signs. Now we're looking to change over the street name signs. So those are the ones that say Harrison Avenue. It says Harrison Street here, but that's only on the memo, but that's because it actually came from the manual. The manual actually had Harrison Street. I didn't want to Photoshop it out. So what we're looking to do is to increase the letter height to a 6-inch letter with a 4. So it's a capital with a lowercase. Prior to that, it was all capital. They wanted all capital, but the eye in the brain does not read capitals very well and does not recognize capitals very well in an all capital word. So the thought is that there's better recognition on a taller capital, and then in a lowercase, and then to make the street road lane even smaller. So it'll be 6, 4.5, and 3.5, I believe is it. We have I forgot to have, what is it? It's 533 of them. We went to East Coast Sign. We are piggybacking off of East Coast Greenwich sign contract. They're the low bidder for Greenwich itself. They gave us a price for that, and the total price all in was $28,782. And we'll be looking to kind of bring them in phases, about 100 signs at a clip, and then put them out 100 at a clip. And the monies are available in our capital sign, our budgets, our DPW capital signage budgets. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Definitely easier to read. There's no question about that.
We did put one up.
I was not excited when I first saw them because they are significantly bigger than the original, but once they're up on a pole, it's like, okay, I can handle it.
Right.
I was like, you're kidding me.
When we put up as a test case, she said we hit it on Deep Valley so nobody would see it. So, but we put it up at Deep Valley just to take a look because on the table, it looks very large sitting on the.
It's a little shocking.
But in use or in situ, it's not as frightening.
Yeah, I think the picture that it was good you put that picture in because it does.
Right. Yeah, it matters. Once it's in place, it matters that it's not as
I think, it's a safety thing, and it's good for obviously emergency services, et cetera, too. So
for each, we have right now we have a kind of a mishmash. We have some that are all capitals. We have some dating back that are very old, and this will be a nice where it'll all be one uniform look. And it should be helpful for navigation for our emergency services for the older population. I put in, you know, in your backup, I put in some things about, you know, an older driver and what they see and how, you know, their cognitive availability and what their actual, their visual acuity changes because everything gets darker for them. So if you make the sign a little bit larger and more retroreflective, they're able to see it better. So there's actually a sketch in there about what a 20-year-old driver, 50-year-old driver, and 85-year-old driver, and basically it just changes based on how much light comes to the eye and how much is recognized and how much you can see at that point in time. But so this should help.
So a related topic, you know, all these signs that are coming down that are old and historic, and some of them are coveted. Is there a way we can use those old signs? Maybe I'm throwing these ideas out because I just thought of it, but like volunteer EMS, volunteer fire department in town. We take the signs, we have a little auction, any money goes to you know, because somebody would love, I'm sure, to have a sign in their playroom, or, you know, somebody that lives on the street might want a sign. I mean, over the years, Weed Street signs have been stolen so many times. Those are very coveted signs.
Rather not put those up right before college. We'd just rather just put them on the ground and let people take them.
If we're just going to take them down, and, you know,
people who have asked, it's a good, you know, that's actually because we've had people who lived on the street for a very long period of time and said, "Oh, can I have that old one?" You know, so we can certainly save them and then see what happens. Save them for a certain period of time, and then we'll recycle them.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Let's come up with that's a great idea.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
That's it.
All right. If I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with East Coast Signs in the amount of $28,782 for the required replacement of all existing street name signage as directed by the manual on uniform traffic control devices for the MUCD.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. Pave local roads.
So this is a continuation of a contract with Indus or Seal Coating Incorporated for the micro thin overlay and crack seal of our local roads. It's specifically, we're looking at the micro thin overlay portion of the Cape Seal for Bayberry, Briscoe, and Valley. And then we'll be crack sealing another 25 or so roads overall. Indus was the low bidder from our 2024 project that was publicly advertised at that time. They've done great work for us since 2014 through 2024, and they came to us and said, we'd like to hold our price for this year. So last year's price to this year, and the prices this year are obviously gone up, and we were actually quite low last year based upon what we're seeing out there. Their unit price is $377.74, and this year we're looking closer to $395 for bids that are out there. So we get the contractor that we've been comfortable with at the price that from last year, and the monies are available in our budget. So the overall price was $416,609.75 with a 10% contingency of $62,500 for a total of $479,109.75 for the micro thin overlay and crack seal of the roads listed on the sheet.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get the same price as last year, given what's going on out there, it's big. Right. You've got a list of, are you looking at something up there? You've got a list of roads here.
I have a list of all the crack seal roads. I mean, I can read them off if you want, but
I think you guys do a good job communicating. If you get them up, they'll be up on.
We're going to put this out on our Everbridge listing, and then it'll be on the road portion of the website. So there's a website that they can go to, and we typically, for the Cape Seal portion, we send a letter to the residents because that's the hot in place. This is more, it takes about 20 minutes for the micro thin overlay to cure. So we want to make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on so that they can get out beforehand, because this is a material that you cannot drive on. You'll track it onto your car, track it into your house. So you have to let everybody know that they either have to stay in their house for 20 minutes until the material breaks, or leave beforehand and then go from there.
We're not doubling up on anybody that's already going around detours, are we?
No,
Mhm.
we have a little bit of an issue on the Valley Road portion, but we think that at the time that we're going to go and do this, we should be fine with the work. But that's a great question. With the work that's going on 106 from Canoe to Valley, there is a small portion of it, but we feel that we're comfortable that we can take care of it.
The total number of
Yeah.
roads, it looks like what, 20 plus roads, I guess, right? For the crack seal, at least. There's a lot of roads listed, so. Probably 25.
Actually have, what does that say? It says 25 roads, 37 segments. So actually 29 roads, 37 separate segments on the roads. So for the crack seal portion. Yeah.
Good.
So I just, the memo has a 10% contingency, but it's a 15.
She said it to me, I know.
So I'm gonna give you a 10%
That's fine.
contingency. So we're just gonna modify that.
They're calculating. I knew there was something going on. Nah, it's fine.
It's
I
pretty
forgot
easy to look at,
Change
so,
that typo. Yeah, change that typo.
all right. All right, so that will,
That I wanted to do the 10 and I didn't do the math
Yeah.
correct. To be perfectly honest with
that's fine. It's, I'm always here for you, Tiger. Always here to help.
you. In this regard, yeah. So
All right, so that would reduce the contingency to $41,660.97, bringing the total project to 458,270.72. So just, if anybody wants to check my
458.
math, but that's where I am before we correct it.
we're gonna trust you on it. Okay. I noticed
Um,
that you went to the 97 and didn't round the 97.5 up to 98 though. Did notice that, so it's okay. Does it, exactly, that's right, gotta round it down.
Penny and
No,
give
I'm
you
perfectly fine.
73 and 98, just for you. Okay, so any other questions?
Nope.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Indus Seal Coating in the amount of $416,609.75, plus a contingency of $41,660.98 for a total project of $458,270.73.
Perfect.
The project entails the microthin overlay and or crack sealing of various town roads.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. All right, pave local roads.
So this next one is an approval or an extension of a contract with FGB Construction. FGB was our low bidder from our 2024 project where we received 4 bids. They've agreed to hold their pricing on every single unit from mobilization through, so drainage, everything that we have, excluding the bituminous concrete class 1 where they're asking for, I wrote in the memo a 3.45%. It was actually 3.75% year over year increase, which made the overall increase 2.8497%. I'm not asking for any change in the contract itself or in the contingency or in the total. So I just wanted to clarify that math there. So 1,655,805.33 with a 10% contingency of 165,000. I rounded down. So for a total of $1,820,805.33. This is for the paving of Lakeview Lane, North Wilton Road in its entirety, White Oak Shade in its entirety, Marvin Ridge Road in its entirety, Park Lane and Bridle Path. So we've got 3 very long north-south kind of roads on this list. And to give you an idea of where the bidding came in at, so they were approximately $127 a ton last year with their year-over-year increase. So in 24, there were 126.75. This year, looking at 131.12, and the pricing that Stanford just got for their bidding is $140 a ton. So we're saving money across the board on that. And given the fact that Stanford has a plant that's in their 2 plants actually that are in their town. So the hauling and everything, that's just material. That's just, so we're looking at not just like an $8.50 change. We're looking at something even larger, where we would have a much larger increase for the large portion of what the work is. So,
All right, so I just, because this is the second time now.
Yeah.
So because I'm looking at the bid, so it, you know, there is an increase year over year in the costs that we're paying.
there is an increase.
Mobilization's the same, that those are the same, but the price. And so I don't know, do we have an audit? I just want to make sure these are significantly above our non-bidding limits.
That's correct.
And so, and I appreciate that, you know, we've used FGB and we like the work that they do and they're a good contractor. So I appreciate all of that. Just because these are large projects. And what are we? Yeah, from an audit standpoint, because I'm looking at, we've now twice now. And we just have to say, you know, what. Okay. Yeah, because these are both in violation of our purchasing policies. I mean, they're not, it's not, you said on the local roads, there's no increase in price year over year. Is that correct? I didn't get into the detail. For the last one we just approved.
The crack seal, there was no increase year over year in the pricing. None.
At all.
At all.
This is an increase in the pricing.
One unit, that's correct. In the paving unit.
Yeah, because it's a 3.75.
3.75% in that one unit. The rest of them he's holding, he's not increasing at all. So that's where it came out with that's why I noted the year over year increase.
Because I look at the bituminous concrete class 1 is up.
That's it.
The shim is up. That's 91 to 94.
There was basically bituminous class 1. That's it. It's basically the two class 1 items are up. That's it. Those are the 2 items and then it correlates to a 2.8497% from contract to contract. But the unit that he's proposing, the unit price right now is being bid at about $140 a ton.
You're talking about what Stanford paid.
That's Stanford's bid that came in last Thursday was 140, and there's a plant in there.
Can we add that to the record for
Sure.
For Ann, so that you have that?
Yeah, I can write her a memo or something on a file.
Write that memo for Ann, just because I mean, I understand, and we like FGB and the work they do, but this is. I don't want to create a problem for Ann that you know, and I do want to have our roads. We like the contractor, so.
Yeah, I mean, I almost view it as a continuation of the work they did last year, although I understand getting these bids is important.
Yeah.
But
I don't have a problem with us giving me the same price last year, but when it's not the same,
but when I calculated off of what Stanford's paying versus what we're paying, it's an $8.50 change at 8,300 tons is $70,550.
Yep.
So we were automatically saving 70 grand off the top. That's the reason why we came, you know, so.
Yeah, I understand. So if we could just add that level of detail for land so that we have some background for why we made this decision without going out to bid.
And can we talk about timing too? I mean, obviously North Wilton Road, White Oak Shade and Marvin Ridge, as you mentioned, those 3 are major long roads. So what are we looking at in terms of scheduling, and when do you think this
He's looking at coming in within the next couple of weeks and taking care of them? Excuse me, they wouldn't.
So school will still be going.
School would still be in session. Yeah, we run into that problem regardless. I do have to say that some of our neighboring towns say you can only pave during the summer, but they pay for that pricing, you know, to the tune of, last time I checked, it was about $35 a ton difference. So I'm not willing to, that's a lot of money, you know? So the thought is to more just make sure that we can manage the traffic, manage the school buses and manage the area. And at present, we've been able to do that. So then while there's a small inconvenience to the motoring public, the town saves the money associated with it. So
I will point out there's a lot of light between 3:30 and say 8:30 p.m. too. So I don't know if they can use that
time. 38. Oh, they'll still be going later. Yeah. So it'll be, their day starts at 6:30 or 7 and it's going to run till 5:30, 6 o'clock. Easy.
Just driving around, obviously everybody's behind school buses, but when you add construction to school buses, that's not a good combo. But, hopefully we'll manage. I see the budget in here for, uniformed traffic officer, so that'll help a lot.
That's correct. Yeah, we have an allowance set aside, and then usually we have 3 that follow. So when we mill or pave, we like to have our officers do it. Other work, so drainage work and things like that, we'll have flaggers. But when we're actually out there doing the milling and the paving, I like to have our officers, since there's a badge and there's a radio, a lot of stuff going on at that point in time, and people tend to adhere a little bit better and understand what needs to happen with an officer present. So there's an allowance to take into account their costs.
And Maria, how much drainage is involved in these projects? Is there a lot of new drainage or just existing stuff that's there?
So we have resetting of catch basins and replacing if there's any aging infrastructure. The drainage projects that the highway department is working on, some of those are involved in these roadways, but I believe we're taking care of some of those ahead of time, right?
Right, we're taking
Yeah.
care of some of them, but there's approximately 18 new catch basins that'll be 8 tops that'll be replaced. So Jimmy Peck went through and looked at every single road and then verified what needed to be done at each location, and then went from there. So granted, it's still a view from the top. So, but then we pull the top off, the catch basin might need to be replaced, but we'll address that at that time, and there's a unit price for that. But he did go out and take a look so we could give a sharper estimate of the work that needs to be done.
Yeah, because those guys know, because they're out there in those storms, the pooling areas where you get that pooling on the road, that hydroplaning can happen.
Right.
And so hopefully they'll take care of that. Good. All right.
And I just have to say, yesterday I drove on, I guess it was Luke's Woods Road from 124. Is that where, no?
Starts at 124, goes
yeah.
to 123. Goes all the way
To
through.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Be connected
To Michigan or then further. Yeah.
I was crossing over I was going 123 to 124. So I took a left on Luke's Woods, I think, right there. And I was like, what is wrong with this road?
Puddin Hill.
It's so funny. It is very distinct. What is New York and what is New Canaan?
Yes.
You see a very distinct difference in the quality of the road. So thank you to everybody. I was like, what is this road? And then I was like, wait, this isn't ours. There's a white sign for the street. That's not us. Yes.
Saw it once it changed.
Yes. So thank you, everybody. Okay. All right. So if I could get, and Tiger will send that memo to Ann, a approval of a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with FGB Construction in the amount of $1,655,800. Okay, let's start over. $1,655,805 plus 33 cents, plus a contingency of $165,000 for a total project of $1,820,805.33. The project entails the milling, reclaiming, and repaving, as well as other necessary improvements of various town roads. Second, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, intersection improvements.
Intersection improvements. So we went out to bid and solicited directly from 7 separate contractors. This is for the intersection improvements at Route 123, which is New Norwalk Road, Brushy Ridge, Locust Avenue, and Summer Street. So that whole intersection, we've been working on this project since approximately 2015 with the Connecticut DOT. We had traffic engineer Fussin O'Neill involved, and we also had our Cabezas DeAngelis engineers working on the site plan. So it's in essence what it is we're realigning the intersection slightly, repaving, some sidewalk improvements only to try to then get everyone to the intersection. Right now the sidewalk ends right at Brushy Ridge and it ends at Locust and Summer, but we need a stretch that goes from Locust and Summer to the intersection And in essence, just a little bit further from on Brushy Ridge to the intersection, there's a small little piece of sidewalk on either side. And then some improvements to the pedestrian signals, actually replacement and installation of the pedestrian signals, and then some curbing and some drainage work, et cetera. So we went to the we met with the DOT, I don't even know how many times, too many to count, over probably a 3-4 year period to try to get this project to fruition. We finally received an encroachment permit pending the selection of a contractor. So as I mentioned, we went out to bid. The unfortunate thing is we only had one contractor submit a bid, Burns Construction at $215,746.28. I put a 15% contingency of $32,000 on it for a total of $247,746.28, and the money is available. We advertised it. I directly solicited, meaning I sent an email to every single contractor asking them to bid on the project. I think it's just we're working with the DOT, and it's on a DOT road and our roads, and I think it's some people just don't want to take that that burden on. I even extended the bid for an additional week to try to see if I could get some additional people to kind of.
Is paperwork on their end that they have to submit, or what is it?
A little bit, yeah, and a headache, the headache itself.
We've lived through it.
To give, we started in 2015, so we're 10 years into this project, and working very hard for the past 4, I'd say, on it, because a couple of times it got delayed by the DOT, and then it kind of fell. But we've been we did try. Went to every single person that normally bids for us, and then some others, and we were in the paper, and couldn't get anybody to go. So other than Burns, but Burns has done great work, and their pricing is not out of the norm. So that's the secondary part. When I look at the numbers for the work that they have to do, and that's the fact that they're there working on a small piece, the work is actually, the pricing is commensurate with the type of work that needs to be done. To do this in August, and they're going to partner this with if you approve it, with the fire department work. So they're going to kind of work their way through that and partner the two together.
2 questions. One, why do we have a 15% contingency on this job?
Because it's a little funky, and I got some work with the pedestrian signals and conduits that are working on the ground. So that's what I'm a little worried about. You can certainly take it down to 10, but I was still a little worried about it.
Well, I guess, and then this is going to speak to why I want to leave it to 10. We have some extra duty money that they owe us. Burns does.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah, but I needed to talk about that offline. Yeah. Try to figure on. I
think we can kind of manage with a lower contingency and managing with them getting what they owe us.
Yeah. When I had last night I sent an email to him about the extra duty, and then about the arrears. And then I actually had, on the drive in this morning, I was going to talk to Ann about, is there a possibility of saying, well, your first check doesn't go to you, your first check comes to me.
Okay.
I don't know if that's possible. So, but that's something we have to ask Ann and ask the lawyers if that can happen, where, anything that's over a 90-day, in arrears, you say, my first check to you comes back to me. I don't know. That's a, but I did think about that this morning, because it's been sending emails, getting a little frustrating.
All right, well then I'm definitely okay with a 10% contingency, and we can work with them.
Some of it also is not necessarily their fault. They were looking for reimbursement back from for Aquarian paying them, to them, they pay again, right? So if they're not getting the money that when they're working with Aquarian for the work that they're putting out, it's very hard to then, we're billing them, they're billing Aquarian is not paying them, and they're not going to pay us. It kind of up and down the line.
Yeah.
But they have been.
If they need any help, and a call from here, to get paid, so that we get paid.
I copy Aquarian on the email that I sent to Burns. I copy Aquarian on it, so they're aware that we're aware that, hey, we're in arrears.
Yeah.
So because for that reason, if I can help move that along from the Aquarian side back to the Burns side, that matters, because it was a substantial amount. They did a very good job over the past month dropping that number down.
Yeah.
But it was a substantial amount last month. But if you want to, if you want to go
let's just drop this contingency.
21.5 and make it easy on the math. 21,500.
Yep.
and then the math is easy at that point. So that's 230, 237, 246, I think it is. Yeah, 237, 246, 28. Right?
So it's 237.
246, 28.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I look at the total here for dealing with what amounts to what, 5 streets? You've got 123 Locust, you've got
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a-
Summer, you've got Brushy Ridge, then there's
Yeah.
is that River Street that comes in?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
It's
so
River Street
much
as well.
going on there.
Yeah.
And-
It's a dangerous intersection.
and to me, this project almost looks like, you know, it's a great deal if we can improve safety and crossing
Yep.
through there. I mean,
Yep.
for, you know.
I did have a pedestrian strike there during this process. You know, several years ago, we had a pedestrian strike. So, yeah, so that,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
People
coming
have been
from River
asking
Street coming
about it
into the
when it's
town.
coming. So
So what will we expect as a resident? We'll see the timed crosswalk there? Is that?
You'll see, yeah, the pedestrian heads, there'll be at present, I believe it's an all exclusive phase, meaning it'll be a pedestrian phase for the pedestrian. So the sidewalk will get slightly extended on Brushy to the intersection and then come straight across the street. We originally had the design going a different direction to try to get over to Summer, get out of the way, but we're gonna come straight across to the intersection at Locust, and then a small stretch of sidewalk to get you to where the stop bar is on Locust. There'll be a crosswalk coming across to the sidewalk that then leads you into town. So you'd be coming in on the, I guess that's the northern side of the intersection, crossing over to the southern side of the intersection at the stop bar. So people are already stopped at the traffic light, and then head up into town. And there'll be a little bit of additional work in and around trying to put the pedestrian signals in the correct location and resetting the guide rail, things of that nature that are part of the whole project. They originally, when we came forward with this project, they wanted us to redo the entire bridge.
Yeah, the culvert or something.
Yeah, there's a culvert, a bridge that runs underneath there, and part of it was, right, they said that they wanted us, the DOT said as part of this project, you're gonna have to redo the entire bridge. No, that's not happening,
We've
but
been
that
one
was
in
the
front of this
original,
number.
it was the original take on it.
Hence why the alignment is changed.
Right, hence, right.
what's the stop bar? I don't understand.
So as you come down Locust, there's a white bar that goes across the pavement, tells you
Oh,
where
on
to
the
stop on the
pavement.
pavement.
On
Yeah,
pavement,
sorry.
okay.
It's not
Yeah.
no, it's not a gate.
Okay, I'm like, what?
No, there's
Okay.
a white, that's called a stop
Yes,
bar. It's
okay.
the white pavement that's there, that's the stop location. So in front of that will be the crosswalk. So
That's where pedestrians from Summer would be able to cross.
that's right. So if you're walking down Summer, you come onto that landing, walk across Locust, and then be able to get to River Street
Okay.
and
That's good,
beyond.
because I saw the other night, somebody waiting in the evening, trying to cross. It's so dicey right there. I get nervous.
Yeah, right turn on red from 123 onto Locust. It's
Yeah, not everybody
no.
adheres to the no turn on red there, so, okay. All right, so, well, so you think this will be an August timing?
This will be, that was when I talked to him the other day, it was an August timeframe. That's correct, to try to match up with the
Traffic.
fire department.
And traffic flows, when you do a project like this, there's, you know, doing it in August is much better than trying to do it at any other time
Yeah.
because it's.
So hopefully a lot of people will be out of town.
Good.
Okay, so if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Burns Construction in the amount of $215,746.28, plus a contingency of $21,500 for a total cost of $237,246.28. The project entails the improvement of the intersection of Route 123, New Norwalk Road, Brushy Ridge, and Locust Avenue, Summer Street by realigning, repaving, sidewalk improvements, and pedestrian signal improvements, etc.
So moved.
Second, and it's unanimous. All right,
Thank you.
National Public Safety
We'll
Week.
get to a better one. Yeah, so this is our annual request to have May 18th to May 24th of 2025 designated as National Public Works Week in the town.
The 19th or the 18th?
This the 18th. There's one typo in there. Of course, you got to catch
Any
that one,
typo on
right?
the
So
agenda.
it was 18, 18, 19. I saw it this morning. I'm like, I can't believe I had it. So
Okay.
this is so this year's theme is people, purpose, and presence. So it highlights the 3 cornerstone ideals that motivate public works professionals to serve in their communities every day. Meeting the needs of people is what gives public works its sense of purpose. Many times, public works professionals will never meet those whose lives have been impacted because when things are going right, no one knows that public works is there. Yet, with or without fanfare, public works professionals are ever present, working in the background to advance quality of life for all. So basically, this theme highlights how public works makes communities safer, more vibrant, and a better place to live. Whether serving as first responders, responding to electricity outages, providing regular waste pickup, or making roads and sidewalks passable after a winter weather event, public works is always there when people need them. So we, appreciate the.
No, I tell you, like August 18th, yeah, August 18th, right? The last major storm. It was a big, effort on the part of everyone in the, our public safety, but also our public works department. They make sure that we can, continue to live our lives after these events. So I'm fully in support of this. And
Yeah, I mean, it's public works. If public works guys don't come to work on a day when you have a couple feet of snow, the ambulance and fire trucks and police can't get through. So these guys literally are the first responders.
The Marines, first in, last out.
Yeah,
it's basically it.
Our downtown look beautiful.
Yes.
So thank you to them all. And I'm happily, if I could get a motion to approve the declaration of May 18th to May 24th as National Public Works Week in the town of New Canaan.
Enthusiastically seconded or firsted.
Firsted, and I'm seconding, and it's unanimous. And then one last thing is this memo, the addition that we added, the Cape Seal for local roads.
Right. So this is the PAVE 2025 Cape Seal local roads. We're looking to sister off of the 24 pricing from Watertown, Connecticut. So actually utilizing their unit pricing from 24 on their project. And the total project for Seymour Sealing would be $123,280 with a 15% contingency of $18,500 for a total of $141,780. And
So Watertown bid it out and that
bid it.
was there. So, and we're good with that because Watertown bid that and we can use their pricing.
Right. They did it. Yeah, they did a bid and they had 2 bidders, Allstate and Seymour.
Okay.
And Seymour was the low bidder at $3.13 for the pass oil with 3/8 inch clean stone, which is what we'd be utilizing. So that
What's up with the 15% contingency again?
I always use 15. I've been using 15 forever. You just keep knocking me down
Talking
to
about
10.
10. We've been talking about 10.
Some of them I have to say I gotta stay at the 15. This one here, I think I could go to the 10, but
10.
Okay, we'll go to 10, but it'll be a horse trade every time. So it just what is that?
12,300. So I'll do 123 unless you want me to get to the penny.
I'm okay with this.
And rounding right.
A hard time on the last one. That was
That's 12,300.
35,580.
35,580 is what I had too. Okay, good. All right. Have any questions?
Nope.
All right, if I could get a motion to approve here we go. I have to make this up. If I can get a motion to approve a contract with Seymour Seal Coating Services for Cape Sealing of local roads in the amount of $123,280 plus a contingency of $12,300, bringing the total contracted or the total approval to $135,580.
So moved.
Second, and it's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl, finally, sorry.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here very excited to present the new Director of Health. Her name is Amy Lahaney. We had 22 applicants. We interviewed 3. She is currently the Director of Health in Monroe, where she has been since 12/22. Before that, she was the Deputy Director of Health and Social Services in Bridgeport from 4/22 to 12/23. And before that, the town of Fairfield, she was the Acting Director of Health and a Sanitarian from 2010 to 2022. She is a registered sanitarian. Phase 1 and 2 subsurface sewage system certified, certified lead risk assessor, and certified food service inspector. She also has her master's in public health from Southern in 2007. So we are very lucky to have had her apply, and I think she will be a great asset to the town.
And her skill set, I mean, she knows open, I think she actually took our OpenGov and moved it over into Monroe, like kind of used our modules or something.
Right. So
And
she's
then-
very familiar with
And
our
then
systems.
understands Munis. So I think it'll be an easy transition bringing her in. So,
Correct.
you know, we're fortunate.
She does have to give a month, so, which we totally respect. So she'll be starting with us on June 9th.
And can you bring her to the first meeting so we can meet her?
Absolutely. Yes, I would love for you to meet her. She'll be a great asset.
I made sure I was in on all those interviews. So
Good. All right. Well, I know, I mean, obviously these positions, this particular position is very difficult to find. So we're very lucky to have found her. So.
Correct.
Well
So,
done.
and Gino's been doing a terrific job.
he has, we
covering
should really
the
thank him.
department.
We are very
Yes.
fortunate that he has stepped in and really kind of bridged the gap.
Good.
So,
Good.
and everybody's kind of stepping up.
Exactly. It's
Shannon and
been going
Deb,
very well.
everybody's stepping up this period. So, all right. So if I could get a motion to approve a request from the Human Resources Director to hire Amy Lahaney as the Director of Health beginning June 9th, 2025.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl. All right. And then contracts. We have contracts under 10,000 on your. Here, do you have any questions?
Nope. Looks good.
Okay. And then are there any tax overpayments? So we have tax overpayments, yes. So
All of those.
any questions?
Nope. I think on the tax, I think we had a pretty successsul
Tax sale.
tax sale. Yeah. so
Yes,
that's-
$2 million worth of delinquent taxes have come in. We finally got the check, right? We got it in.
Wow.
So
That's a
that's
big
nice
plus.
for us.
Yeah.
That's a big help to the general fund.
Yeah,
So-
and hats off to whoever orchestrated that inside of town hall. That's really,
That
that's
would,
not-
you
that's
have
a-
to.
That's a lot of work.
Thank you to Sebi and to Ann and Adam Cohen. Well, he's not town hall. We pay him. He gets paid.
Oh, well done. Well done. That's not an easy task. so.
Yeah, but he did a great job. I have to say, you know, a bunch of us sat in on the sale and he did a very good job of keeping the meeting tight and organized and quick.
Good.
So,
And that was just a public, sort of public.
yeah,
auction,
there were
really.
quite a few people in the room.
Yeah.
Quite a few people. Yeah. There were nine properties that were delinquent before the sale, and by April 22nd, the day of the sale, there were only 2 remaining. So two properties actually had to go to the auction. Everybody else fulfilled their delinquent taxes prior to the auction.
Good.
So
All right.
it's good. So thank you to everybody for getting that, and thank you to Anne for suggesting it. You know, so I wouldn't have known that that's something you could do. So
Well, I mean, and
We have-
that proves that you better pay your taxes because,
Yeah.
it's, there is a bite with the bark. So.
there is,
Good.
that's a saying, death and taxes.
Yeah.
Can't avoid either one. So, okay. And then tax overpayment. So we have to approve.
Okay.
So, if I could get a motion to approve the tax overpayments as listed on your tab.
So moved.
Second, it's unanimous. And selectmen comments, I had 2 things. Let me see if I can, first, it was in the New Canaanite today, but a huge congratulations to Robin Bates Mason as being named the new executive director of the Land Trust. They're very lucky to get her. She's quite a dynamo. We're lucky to have her in town.
And I served with Robin on town council and I emailed her last night. I said, is there anything you haven't done?
I
mean,
know.
she's amazing for the things that she's done just in
Yeah.
a short period of time.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect spot for her. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Robin and congratulations to the trust because they got a great find there. So
I know. So, and then also just wanted to note that on Thursday, the town was recognized by the Connecticut, oh my goodness, somebody's gonna have to help me with the name of the organization, but it's a historic preservation award. And so Tiger and Bill will be going to represent the town and at the Yale Club or something. New Haven Country Club, sorry. And yeah, so the Alden Bailey will be, not Alden, well, Alden Bailey's invited and Architectural Preservation Studio. So accepting the award on behalf of the town.
Great.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah,
for
it
me.
looks amazing. The tables came out in front of the Playhouse, and you can tell it's going to be the spot this summer. So
Yeah, yeah. We just need to get a
get
dry
a little-
day.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
All right,
so if there's nothing else, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second, it's unanimous.
Thank you.